seems like a collective who's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is happening? What is this? I don't understand. And there's almost with the Knight of Swords in reverse and the Moon, kind of like what feels like we're rushing ourselves to find some kind of clarity or to figure out the answer. But the thing is, with the Moon here, it's like that's the answer. That's the whole thing. Let there be a lack of clarity for whatever this is. Because if anything, it's showing up like you don't have to dig for this, or it's not your fault that you don't have clarity on whatever this is. It's not your responsibility to fix the fact that there's a lack of clarity in whatever this moment is with this situation. And it's also giving this vibe of like, let something be unexpected. Let something change course potentially. I'm looking at these cards and I'm like, okay, so usually when there's a lack of clarity, I want to say you're good at being in the middle of this Moon energy, which is kind of this like, it's like a spooky level of uncertainty, but I feel like whoever I'm talking to, that's like your realm. That's like where you operate. Whether this is in regards to a relationship or not, we'll pull some cards. I have a feeling this does relate to a relationship, but it could also just have to do with like your territory or your life right now. Specifically the mood or like the lingering energy around you that you're feeling at the moment. And so it's this energy of like really wanting to feel grounded for the most part, but trying to do that, like going out of your way to try and do that, that is the thing that's probably making it so that you feel even less grounded. And then I pulled Pluto and I'm like, this makes a little more sense. Pluto with transformation. You're kind of in the middle of like a cocoon at the moment. You're in the middle of your chrysalis phase for probably another ascension or awakening, or for some kind of big change or pivot in your life. But Pluto burns things down so that they can grow back correctly, right? And so if you have been feeling this Moon energy around you, which is like this, I almost want to say it's probably a bit uncomfortable to be put in this position. The Knight of Swords in reverse is like, it seems like your guide's wanting to show you, you are allowed to not have certainty. You're allowed for things to not be clear and for it to feel a little bit weird, and for you to just center yourself here in the weirdness of the energy around you. For the right collective, this will make sense. For the wrong one, that's gonna be like, what the fuck? We also have the Ace of Cups in reverse. I feel like this could just kind of be Pluto wanting to show you something. So I see it as maybe your guides wanting to show you in this moment. And then we have nurture and compassion and then messages and dreams. In this moment, it's one where when you allow yourself to sit in the middle of I don't even want to say a tornado because it doesn't seem like there's a ton of chaos happening around you, but it is kind of this vibe of like this weirdness and this like you can't put your finger on it, like you don't really fully understand what the vibe is or what is going to happen next. That is, I want to say, the energy that you've been trying to kind of strive for, maybe over the last like 6 months, right? And it's like your guides being like, yeah, no, the way to get there, we're putting you through that, but you have to just kind of surrender to it and allow yourself to sit in this energy, this Moon energy, and feel what it feels like. Sit with it, witness it, and be in the middle of it because you're safe, you're in a cocoon. But don't, I guess, judge it. You can define it. You can like note what it feels like. And just take a screenshot of that. But I think with the Ace of Cups in reverse, there's something about it being hard to get to that point because there's something about like this emotional response that comes up when you're in the middle of trying to get to that stage. When you're trying to go from, okay, there's not a lot of certainty, but this feels weird, like this energy feels strange, like I'm something's about to come through and I feel like I'm kind of like bare to it, or like there's really not a lot of it's like I almost want to like just like grab comfort stuff or like what, like grab a person or like how do I ground myself here? And this is sort of saying let it pass or let it go. There's no rush to kind of like figure this out, because your guides are kind of wanting to show you something very specific. And I think it's how you do try to define uncertainty. You try to define it so that you can get out of it, so that you can avoid it and get yourself to like, okay, safe, clear. When I think what they're wanting you to do is figure out how to be safe and clear when everything is not, right? It's like figure out how to operate in a world that is not perfectly curated or that is not smooth, and still understand yourself. It's not even really fully about staying centered and staying in a specific type of energy. It's more so kind of almost showing up like it's supposed to be a confirmation of like where your nervous system is at and how much work you've done on it. And I think that there's something on the other end of this. There's like a new you or a new energy that I don't think you've been able to actually experience. It's like when the tornado kind of chills and Dorothy is like all of a sudden transported to this different place, and yeah, she's confused, but she's supposed to be there, right? I'm not gonna lie, I do not like when I get messages like this. This used to happen to me a lot last summer, and it was right when I was like hitting a big shift or pivot in the way that I would do my readings and the way that I was like channeling energy, what I was actually tapping into. It felt uncomfortable, but it was very clearly coming to me. Like I could very clearly sort of understand the energy, but I didn't know exactly what it applied to. I'm like, what the hell? And it would take me for turns. Like, I think you're being asked to kind of like really immerse yourself in that and to just flow with it, because it's not something where when you get something thrown at you or it feels weird or it feels like, whoa, that's not the path that I was on, that's not where I was going. It's like your guides being like, no, it is. It's part of the path. Just keep walking through it and see what that looks like. Before telling yourself that you got something wrong or that you're on the wrong path or that this is not what it's supposed to look like. It's like, just stay the course. We have the dark night, the moon, and then shadow side. And then we started with the moon card here. With Pluto, transformation, and then shadow side, moon, and dark night, that is some real intense stuff. It's also reminding me of like people when they step into like their sister self energy. And that is an energy that I don't think this collective has fully embraced. I'm gonna try to find a way to describe this for you so that it makes a little more sense. Contracts, careers, commitments. There's something that heavily has to do with your career here, where I want to say whatever this side is of you that your guides are trying to kind of like bring back to life. It's maybe dark feminine energy or dark masculine energy, or I don't just think it's like your shadows being triggered, right? I don't think that's the case. I think that's what happens when you resist the energy that your guides want you to flow through. I think they want you to explore the weirdness. I think they want you to continue to like take steps forward like Dorothy does down the yellow brick road when this is happening. And this could be something where it's happening in your job and you're noticing it happening every day in your relationship, where all of a sudden there's this weirdness, there's this uncertainty, there's this energy of like, is this right? I don't know. And you're wanting to define it. And I think they want you to just keep going with it, just see, because there's something on the other side of you doing that. And that is going to be the new territory. But that's where a certain side of you needs to be able to exist that I think doesn't actually get to shine, because once you get to your shadow, I know I need to keep it together. I need to stay composed. I need to remain this version of myself that I feel like I am contractually obligated to show up as, or this, like I have to remain this version of me. And that seems really specific. But I know where I want to go with this message, but I'm going to let the cards do it because I don't want to just take off. We have open heart, receptive, empathy, and vulnerable. And then we have bound, toxicity, partners, and then healing, releasing, purifying, cleansing. You could associate this like energy of uncertainty or this moon energy where it almost feels like we're rushing to find some energy of clarity to ground us with a certain relationship or a certain pattern in your healing journey here that you maybe felt like you were bound to. And it maybe felt like, no, like I need to get myself away from that energy, because this healing and open heart energy, it's like a nice, pretty, comfortable, calm, healing, like being in a spot, like the safe space, that energy. Obviously, we don't want to leave that energy. We want to feel like that all the time. But when you're not in that energy, you're maybe associating it with like something toxic within yourself. That's, I want to say it's not actually the case. It's not actually like a toxic pattern you need to break. No, we have time. It's actually waiting cycles and moments. There's something about a cycle that you've been reliving kind of over and over again, where you notice this part of you starts to come up. And I think that you maybe shackle it and then bind it, because you're like, no, this is what I've been working on. This is what I've been trying to push down. As there's something that heavily has to do with your career or your relationship, where you have maybe outcast, or you've like deemed this this part of you as intolerable or like not welcome. And I think if anything, this part of you is like does not need to be exiled. If anything, this part of you needs more open heart healing and compassion from you, the version of you that you are now. Because I think that version of you was very misunderstood. And I also feel like she's welcome, or he's welcome in this territory. And I also want to say there's something about a huge transformation potentially in your career, or either your next relationship or the one that you're in now, that it's like once you explore this, once you welcome, once you reconcile with this version of you, like you're gonna take off with something. Reunion, soul ties, and then breaking point. I think that this part of you in the past has come out, and it's been a part of you that's been triggered when there was a breaking point in a certain relationship, or it could have been that like a job didn't work out because of this, or it could be the job didn't work out and then all of a sudden there's this version of you that came out, or like I was saying, a relationship, or this could be something where like growing, like it seems like an inner teenager thing, but it could be something where time and time again, when you notice that things around you feel, I want to say when you're feeling this vibe of like, no, I'm maybe going to be controlled in this territory because I don't personally feel like I have control. I think that's where your guides are kind of like saying, well, we have some moments here that we're trying to show you that you're not being controlled just because you feel ungrounded, or you're not going to lose control, basically. You are safe. You are safe with yourself to experience that version of you as she comes through, or as he comes through. You're not breaking when this happens. It's just you're being asked to move through this, but it's moon energy. It's not comfortable. It's not comfortable because this version of you, I'm going to say she, has not been welcome in territory where she wants to kind of come out. And I think that maybe feel like you have to really quickly soothe her away. And when she wants to come back out, it's like she's never been able to actually see the other side of whatever she's trying to kind of have like a momentary freak out in, or a momentary spiral. And whatever she's feeling bound to, it's like there's something you're supposed to explore. There's some kind of massive purge that is supposed to happen here with the Ace of Cups in reverse. When you let this energy that you feel coming up actually run its course for the short period of time that it wants to. And there's a reason she's coming up, and I feel like this is an energy where in the past you've felt this energy come up within you, and you've like taken immediate action here to like chain her back up and put her back in the basement like as quickly as possible, and like, okay, now I can feel more comfortable again because I feel like I'm more in control. I think that it's that energy of not having control, and that version of you that wants to come out. It's like, make your environment around you safe so that she can express herself. Let her do that. Take time off. Do whatever this is, because that is where that's the answer. That's the key to whatever is coming next here. And then we have wish fulfillment. I picked this up. This was on the bottom. That's the key to your wish fulfillment. There's something about there's also something about you freeing yourself here, in terms of like, that seems like a lot. I want to say there's a past relationship here that like played a huge part in you feeling like this side of you was completely unacceptable. And I feel like this relationship was your wish fulfillment, or this job was your wish fulfillment. And because of that, you may feel like, okay, well, my healing now is to make sure that this side of me doesn't take over, or that that's that version of me, I don't act like that anymore, right? So that I can have this thing that I want. Sorry, my dog just burst through the door. She doesn't like when we close doors in this house. Depth, importance, awareness, and value. For your wish fulfillment, I feel like I'm gonna have to pull some cards because I want to know specifically about some relationship stuff, because I feel like there's a way for us to apply this principle to a specific relationship that seems like this is part of your path, or this is something where it's maybe been hard to understand exactly like what is my next step in this relationship? What is my next step in my career? Like, what needs to happen here? And I think that you're open to whatever's supposed to be happening next. But I think that it's one thing to just have it happen, and it's another to be like prepared and be the version of you that can actually handle that. And I think right now your guides are trying to show you that there is a transformation that is occurring or needs to occur. And it really does involve you like diving into this sister self, this shadow energy, this dark energy that wants to come through of yours. It's part of you. So my past life, repeated patterns, karmic lessons, deja vu, confessions, unveiling, coming clean, and messages. That's reminding me of that song. I think it's called Coming Clean by Hilary Duff. I'm not sure if that's what it's called. That album was my shit when I was like 8. The Three of Cups. And then the Eight of Wands upright. I want to say you're going to be celebrating some kind of change. It could be that you're signing on to some kind of career or commitment, or you have some kind of contract here that's about to come up. But we also, in this card, it says Saturn, right? Some things are about to change, and it's going to be a little bit of, like I was saying, that tornado. You could be in like your Saturn return right now. This is giving Ring Around the Rosie also. There's something about your career that wants to transform here, or you are wanting to transform away from a certain career and into a new one. And I feel like this Ring Around the Rosie, it's giving like ritual stuff that you've been having to do, or you're trying to like speed this up, or it feels like you have to go through a certain process. But I feel like your guides are like, fuck that process. Especially with the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. And I think the scariest thing for you here in this situation, this probably has to do with your career currently in the moment. The scariest part about this situation is that you've grown a lot here. You've taken a lot of time to grow whatever crops you are harvesting or wanting to harvest. You've worked really hard in, I want to say, developing whatever this is, whether it's a method, whether it's you finally have gotten to a certain position, whether it's your healing journey, especially with the Six of Swords, or it could be like your bank account or the way that you make money, right? It's like this has worked because this has gotten you to a certain point that was at one point the goal, right? But now it's just a benchmark. Now we're moving up, right? Now we're ascending, and now the scaffolding here in the situation and how our system works and our integration process, it's going to look different, and your guides want to switch it up. and they want you to learn how to let go of control and just let there not be any control. Especially for this transition or this transformation that's happening. Also, I was saying, like, it may have taken you a while to feel like you're sturdy or you're stable, you're steady. Like you've built up this Jenga tower here to support yourself. And whether that is by means of like the process that you go through on a daily basis or your regimen, I think it's kind of coming to a place where you're going to get these moments of like just lean into the weirdness, lean into the uncertainty, or the fact that like your process is going to look a little different today or tomorrow, or in the future from now on. And I think they're wanting you to learn how to adjust so that so they don't have to just like break your Jenga tower and just like in one clean sweep, because that is going to bring out that side of you that you have been trying to hide. So it's sort of saying like, learn how to reconcile this version of you while you are getting the process in small increments before we just like Pluto your ass. The High Priestess. I want to say the collective that I'm talking to knows exactly what I'm talking about. And then the Four of Pentacles. This is a place of lack. This is a mindset that is sort of saying that you had in the past, whether it's in this relationship, this career, or the way your life looks, could be that you've had to rely on yourself entirely, or you finally have a process that works for you. And I think because of that, or because of where you were before you got to this place where you now feel solid in this, that beginning, that humble beginnings that we were at, that energy of like, okay, I really need to like hunker down. I really like don't have a lot of security other than myself. I don't have anybody to like, I don't have any backup plan. I don't have, like I don't have a ton in whatever this is. And I'm completely in charge of it. It's like, that's the place where we were at, where we once saw like where you're currently at as the goal, right? Now that you're currently at where you're at, you still kind of have this energy of like, okay, well, keep it safe, keep my control. I have to be able to have this all be secure. And that's where I think it's sort of saying, yes, your circumstances, you got yourself to a place where you now are solid, but the version of you that felt the need to get to that place, she or he is wanting to say hello more frequently now, because you are a safe person now for this version of you to be expressive, and you know how to take care of yourself, right? And not in a way where you're just like trying to get yourself back to a place where you just feel like you aren't that person anymore. It's like, no, now you're learning how this is a part of you, and you have this solid foundation to actually like integrate this part of you, right? It's like you're safe now. So now you can finally, even when things feel really weird and uncertain and like that moon energy, it's like that's where your guides are trying to show you. You can be in that energy because you know how to, but when you actually surrender to it and just like let yourself be in that scary ass energy, that's when there's going to be this massive emotional release. And that's what's on the other side of that. That's your new horizon here. That's your transition. And that's also how you know that like the storm is over and this gets easier to do. So the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. You're holding on really tight so that your world doesn't get rocked, so that your foundation, so that your Jenga tower stays sturdy. I think your guides want to show you like you have insurance like on this situation. You don't really have to like not let this tree go down in the storm. That's the Knight of Pentacles. It's sturdy. You built it yourself. The Queen of Wands in reverse. I don't think you have confidence in that, which is coming from a place of lack, right? This is a big thing. It also seems like I want to tap into this love situation, because with confessions, wish fulfillment, depth, and then some kind of celebration wanting to come in. I feel like you have something coming here that if your guides at least want to make you aware of this feeling of uncertainty or lack of control, so that when this comes in, the thing that you're actually wanting doesn't rock you, right? Or if it does, you at least know how to befriend this version of you and not exile her. There's the devil. Not tie her up and chain her down, right? Literally, the hanged man. You don't have to tie her up. They want you to reconcile with a version of you that you are now safe to reconcile with. And you did that. You created your own safety, right? You really did create this empire, that you did create this sense of safety, that you grew these crops yourself, and that you fully know what they look like. You know every aspect of them. So you know that you can allow yourself to relax and to be not so like rigid with yourself, to not be bracing. You're good. And this is going to be hard. This is going to be an ugly process. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that you are not healing. Healing is not like this time card. Healing is not linear. Healing looks like this. So I want to tap into this little situation, because I also feel like that Four of Pentacles, that like trying to secure this, trying to hold on to something, I think there's like, it's been really deeply ingrained, because I think that you maybe have kind of felt like in this love situation you've had to operate at certain points from a place of like complete composure of yourself. Otherwise you maybe feel like you are like losing your grip on the tether that you have with this person, right? As you're being asked to kind of like not be tied down to whatever you have currently going on, because you have some big changes that are supposed to be made, I want to say in the next probably 6 to 8 months. Oh my gosh, I went to pick up this deck and then one card, shadow work. I don't think it's just shadow work. I think there is this like internal dark masculine, dark feminine energy that is, it's maybe been associated with like bad, especially with law of attraction in reverse, because this has, in some sense, you feel like it's the reason that things have been repelled, right? That you've repelled certain things. I don't think that's actually the case. I think it's your response to this version of yourself. Slow it down and forgiveness. That makes sense that slow it down is coming out, because that Knight of Swords in reverse is like rush. We're trying to rush to get ourselves to a place where we don't feel like that version of us that we don't forgive or that didn't get forgiveness comes out. That's not the goal anymore. Now we have meant to be. And then strength. Your foundation, your strength, that's there. So allow yourself to honor it by just having faith in that and letting go for whatever this is. And courage. So truth and synchronicity, which is the confession card, and then that synchronicity, we got that card with something like a moment, a cycle, something coming up that's coming up at the perfect time for this. But you also are a lot like, that's converging with whatever this truth or this confession or whatever is coming up. It's like it has to align with this energy of you becoming aware of a certain version of yourself, so that when these situations converge, you see how you don't need to be completely composed when this happens. You just need to be familiar with the version of you that wants to be allowed in this part of the process. Be allowed in whatever response or action needs to be taken based on whatever this truth is. Starseed, what lights you up? What ignites you? What triggers you? I want to know about this love situation, this relationship situation, or if it has something to do with process your feelings. And then soul family, call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. I feel like this is a situation where this person, there's maybe some frustration or a certain version of you that wants to come out when this person, it could be like when they leave, or when you start to feel like you have a lot of uncertainty about what's going through this person's head, why they're operating in certain ways, or why are they, I feel like it's this energy of like, I'm a little bit confused or I'm uncomfortable because this person is I'm maybe seeing that this person is no longer like the version of them that I for so long felt like I had so much certainty over, like my knowledge of them, right? Like, is this person not that person anymore? Or was I wrong? And I think that this is kind of saying that that may be the case, but I also feel like you feeling like you had such a comfortable understanding of the situation, or like I was saying at the beginning, you had that certainty, or you would look for it really quickly. And you could do what I do, you could pull cards because of this uncertainty. But it's like when that version comes out, or when you start to have those realizations about this situation of this person, I think that's when some big feelings come up about how you don't actually have much control in the situation or over this person. I want to say this is someone who you have not, like this you're connected with someone who probably is a very free spirit, or they could be someone who is like a nomad, or they just are somebody who like they don't get tied down, or they didn't want to. You may have also internalized some of that, and so this soul family, I feel like when you were left on your own, or if you were left by this person, there's some unprocessed stuff that a certain version of you wants to process with you, or she's the one who has to process this, or he's the one who has to process it. But not only did that version of you get left alone here to deal with this, but you're leaving her alone. You're not letting her do that. Leap, you go first, the universe will catch you. I feel like this person made some promises to you that when you actually decided, okay, I'm going to trust this person, I think that they didn't pull through. I think that this person either bamboozled or they ran. Sunburn from yesterday. And I feel like you maybe feel like you have to be so solid in yourself, because you could be internalizing some kind of responsibility for this person not taking those steps. And you might feel like it was you that was the reason that did this, or the reason that this person didn't actually fully like stand on this, because maybe you had to find answers for a while. We have forgiveness and then slow it down. This person may be wanting forgiveness for whatever this is. And it could also be that with slow it down and forgiveness, and then release blocks. I always see this as moving boxes. With slow it down and forgiveness, I kind of see it as like this person may be wanting forgiveness for feeling like they couldn't handle that energy of uncertainty that I'm literally talking about you not being able to handle. But you haven't been able to really handle it in a different context. And that may have to do with your career, your environment, your home. This person's might have to do with things moving really fast and then not feeling like they have control, so then they just leap. They just go back to being a nomad. They go back to being free-spirited, and then I saw the go for it card that was on top here. Sisterhood of the Rose, beauty and devotion, priestess, mystic teacher. I was saying you could do what I do. The past. I don't know why I said it like that. Starseed, again, what lights you up? Something lit you up in the past with this person. This leap. You could be someone who's like, when you kind of have to, when you sit with this, you're like, I literally just like throw me off a cliff because I do not want to deal with this. That's understandable. All right, I want to know some details here about what went down in this situation. This might be a little bit longer than usual. Oh, yeah, divorce. Experiencing a breakup. And then no, it's not the right time. I think this person was going through something that you were involved with. They could have been dealing with a breakup around the same time, or they could have said like, no, they need more time to process from a previous relationship. And I feel like there's something here about like their actions not really aligning with that. And they could have been very gung-ho here. And I feel like the moment that things lost certainty here, there's something about the timing of like, this kind of needed to happen the way it did, because there is some real shadow work that I think you got introduced to in this situation when this happened. Divorce and no. You could, hold on. This person also could have gone back to this person, especially with the past, and the way to process your feelings. I think this is a situation where maybe this person went back to this person because this was comfortable, right? Or they just genuinely, like, that was comfortable territory to be in because they know that relationship and they know that version of them that operates in that relationship. I think that's kind of mirroring what I've been describing for you. You know yourself in the specific version of yourself that feels in control, that feels like, okay, I know how to operate in my job this way, and so this is how I'm going to show up every time, or I know how to, I know when I'm this version of myself and I have certainty that everything's fine and nothing's out of control and nothing's going to throw me off and I won't have to feel this way again, right? And I think this person maybe went back to this. Could also be that your career situation mirrors this. Could be that you had an opportunity here for your career, but you went back to whatever was safe. And it could be that you needed to for the time being. This person maybe also kind of needed to work through or experience some kind of stuff in their past relationship with this past person for the time being. Especially with process your feelings and then leave, I usually see that as like actually going back to get comfortable with moving forward, right? With leaving. Like sometimes that's how some people have to process things, and that's okay. I think when this person did this, they went back to this. I think that you were maybe hoping that this person with cycles, yeah, they had to go back to this so that they could experience, so that they could actually let this go, so that had you had a relationship with this person, they wouldn't have been constantly like, their foot wouldn't have been on the gas in this situation with you, because they would have been so uncertain and you guys both would have been hiding certain versions of yourself. You would have been trying to be composed so that this person doesn't go, and this person would have been like trying to force themselves to be comfortable with something that they don't know how to be comfortable yet with, right? Which is like getting thrown into it, which is the Jenga tower just kind of falling, like I was talking about in part 2. Cycles, fate, karma, something ending, something beginning. And then we have move on. Someone is unavailable. It's a waste of time. It's over. Ooh. Water sign. Oh no. Well, someone could be a water sign because I've said it. Earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. You or this person could be an earth sign. I'm also kind of seeing this as like Taurus or Capricorn or Virgo season. That's spring, fall, and winter. Also, this person, the person they went back to, I just want one more of these, and then confession. You got that like 3 different ways. You got truth, you got confession, and then I forget what it was showing up as with the tarot cards at the beginning, but somebody has something to tell you. I want to say this is something where you've been in separation with this person for a long time. I don't think you've talked to this person in a while. Commitment. Uh-oh. And then spy. Someone's got their eye on you. You are doing your research. I feel like with confession, this person like whispering something in their ears, and then spy. I think there's somebody who has word about what this person's up to or how they're doing if you haven't spoken to this person in a long time. And I also feel like this is something where this person might just kind of come over and, you know, a little birdie some information to you about this other person and about their commitment with this person, that I want to say you maybe thought that they just, this was a karmic or this was some cycles where they needed to learn how to, you know, figure this out with this person, and that they were gonna break up eventually. And then we have no, and then that commitment card. I feel like something's gonna throw you off here, and I think that's also why. Also, little random flies showing up. I feel like that's confirmation someone's spying, but you might believe in that kind of thing, or maybe you've heard about that. I feel like someone might tell you some information about this person that got back with their ex, and I feel like you already knew that this was the case, or you assumed this. But what you hear, the balancer, 31, soar beyond all limiting concepts and embrace your spiritual self in the place beyond male and female where we are all truly one energy. I want to get confirmation of how you define this person. Like, do you see them as like your twin flame, or do you see them as a catalyst, or is this somebody that, because I want to say you have energy that is focused on this person, or you have had maybe this understanding that this person's going to come back around. I want to know how you see this person. So we're going to ask about that next. But we have the empath, 26. Those could be relevant ages when you were 26 or when you were 31, or that could be this person. They could be 31 or 26. It says, learn to protect your sensitivities and cultivate boundaries to create a safe space in which you and your desire to be of service can thrive. I kind of want to say this is something where, with this balancer card, like coming together as one, I feel like maybe you were supposed to move in with this person, or maybe there was some kind of plan of like, you guys were figuring something out here. The priestess, 6. June in the past could have been significant. Also, 6 is the number of lovers, and that is some hard choices that somebody has had to make. Also, 6 could be like your life path number. That's a tough, or it could be like your year is, if you look up or you Google like your year in tarot, or your number for the year. I think last year mine was 6. It was the lovers. It'll kind of tell you like this is going to be your theme, which is interesting because it's reminding me of that Saturn return energy and the Pluto energy that I was talking about in part 1. The priestess says, be still and know. Listen to your hunches and your intuitions. Be ready for solutions to seemingly unsolvable problems that to appear. I feel like when whatever this is, when you get this word of this, when you get this confession from this person who seems to have some kind of information or some kind of tea here, this priestess card, it's like, that's when you kind of have to not disassociate. And I think that's why you're being kind of thrown off recently. The ruler. Sometimes you must create and defend boundaries. Because I think this might be a situation where you want to go ham on this person. The resolute, if you do not resolve to be patient and endure tough times, 6 times may appear. Okay, so this might light you up a little bit. I want to know specifically how you define this person, or like what you believe this person to be in your life. Hold on. Facade, beliefs, self-love, creation, and intentions. I'm seeing that as like you at one point and then separation and longing. I think at one point you saw this person to be like, you had a belief here that maybe this person was like a twin flame or a soulmate or that kind of thing. And I also feel like you, through longings or through your separation here with this person and through whatever cycles you've kind of been through here, you've understood how this has brought you to self-love. And then we have creation. This could have brought you to your career as well. This could have put you on your path. With intentions, I'm seeing it as like, that's maybe what you feel like the intention of this relationship is now. And so I want to say you maybe no longer consider this person or define them as this specific thing. I feel like you've been comfortable with that maybe through separation with this person, but I feel like whatever information you hear about this person or their situation with their ex or with the person that they are with now that they went back to, that is going to be the thing that puts you back into a space where I don't think you've reconciled with that version of yourself, because I think you've gotten really comfortable letting go of the idea that this person is like, has this big significant title. But I feel like when you actually like get word of whatever is going on in their life, it's almost like there's still this energy of feeling like something's ripped away. Feeling like, okay, well, now I'm recognizing that I actually really kind of still did feel like this person was this thing. Like, I feel like I didn't want to believe, like you had maybe like a secret desire for this person to kind of still be like a twin flame, but truth, expression. There's so many cards here. What's interesting though is that we got that facade beliefs card where the guy's like looking at his mask and he takes it off. And then we have truth and expression, and they still have paint all over their face. So I kind of feel like this is a situation where the reason this is going to throw you off, breaking point, is because whatever you're going to hear here, I don't think you're going to be able to actually fully see it entirely because, one, I don't even think you're going to hear it from this person themselves. I don't think you're going to be hearing it from the source. Two, I think that this is something that absolutely doesn't align, this information that you're going to be seeing pretty clearly though. This information's not going to align with who you thought this person was and the version of them that you were reconciling with on your path to big, self-love, right? And I think because of that, it's going to make you feel almost like you betrayed yourself a bit with who you thought this person's like higher self was, or who you thought they were, because this may be someone where with cycles, you may have thought this person was stuck in some kind of karmic cycle and that they were just going back to this person because that's their ex and that's a karmic. And this could be something where you really did like read, like you gave a lot of weight to like the lingo here that's used in this community. A lot of times you see tarot readers who are just saying like, your person's with someone else, so that person's a karmic, and then we just kind of like dismiss their relationship together entirely because, well, they're karmic once they learn that. That's not really how it works. Like truly, that's not fully how it works. It's not if you see this person as a counterpart or a twin flame. Obsession, infatuation, adoration, addiction. You could have maybe assumed that this person struggled with like addictions, or that they were like obsessive, or that they were thinking about you, or they were in longing, or that version of them in the past could have been party, external. Like you could feel like this person is really like they wear a mask, they have a facade, they are like easily influenced by the people around them. You could think that like party and external, that this person is just like a good, just like here for a good time and like not a long time kind of vibe. And then we have avoidance. I feel like for you, you may have felt like this person couldn't see themselves, or they couldn't face the truth because they were avoiding, they were partying, and they were more interested in that kind of thing, or like they were avoidant, or that type of deal. I also feel like that maybe turned you off to this person, or that may be something you weren't into. Leo, fire, ace, Sagittarius, Aries. You could also have felt like you kind of lost your fire for this situation. So I feel like that's why. And then longing, craving, aching, wanting. What's interesting is I do feel like you're detached in this moment from this person. But I feel like when you hear this news about whatever this is, that's when I feel like you're going to feel a little bit like, what? Because this is not how I knew this person to be. And then I think there's something about it really setting in that like this person actually has been like living a life. And I think it's kind of this energy of like this version of them helped you to reconcile or to find self-love in the past. But I think this person has grown in some sense. But I also feel like this avoidance party mask, I kind of feel like maybe this person, you felt like they were wearing a mask, or like you felt like they were avoidant, or they were like easily influenced. But secretly they were like longing and craving and waiting and aching, and like their avoidance was the reason for the separation. I kind of feel like that's how you saw it, and that's how it appeared. Most likely pain, apprehensive, afraid, cautious. Feminine. When I see feminine, I see it as another person that they're involved with. I don't think it's really that this person was just avoidant other feelings with you, or that they were wearing a mask. I feel like you might feel like they were, because I feel like this person just didn't fully show you, like, I don't think you got to see this person entirely for like who they are. Like, I feel like this is somebody who's a completely different person when they're around the people in their life versus when they're around you. And I don't think it's because like you see the real them or their friends see the real them. I think they just are a different person around different people, especially with this Leo energy, like this fire energy, and then people around them. This person could just be an extrovert. This could be someone who, you know, they just do show up differently based on the energy that is presented around them. And I feel like you may have thought it looked one way, but I think that's like, it's a culmination of this person's personality in general. It's not something where maybe you put them in that category of like, oh, they're avoidant, or they're different with me than they are with other people. And it's like, that doesn't mean you see the real them or those people see the real them. It just means that like there's different versions of themselves that they show up with in different arenas, which kind of it mirrors what I was talking about with whatever this contract, commitment, career situation that you have going on, that was like your guides are wanting you to integrate. Or because I feel like, yeah, this person maybe just couldn't show up with certain versions of themselves to their relationship with you. Detachment, cold. I feel like this person maybe just went cold on you, and you could have found out around that time that they also were getting back with someone else. Or, and then we also have self-worth and then expectations with longing, craving, aching, wanting. I feel like this is a situation where even though you have not spoken to this person in a really long time, I do feel like there was an initial, like, half of that time, I think this is something that like ate away at you, where it really did force you to kind of like focus your energy on you and find self-love through this separation. But there's 2 cards about longing here. And I also feel like the more that you either hear about this person, or if you looked in on this person to see what was up, I think that hit you and your self-worth. Rejection, fragmented, loss, which is kind of confirmation of what I just said, but reunion, soul ties. You could have also reached out to this person. Oh, stability, harmony, flow. So, I think if this person's coming back for a reunion, or if they're coming back around, I kind of feel like, I'm not going to immediately say that, but we'll see what else wants to come out here. I think that in this situation, you may have felt like the longing, the craving, the wanting for this person through this separation. It's like forced you just get to a place of self-love, or it's like you could have actually just associated this energy of, because I'm wanting this, or because I am recognizing that I do love this person, or I loved myself, or I love the version of me that felt rejected, that it's like you also rejected that version of yourself. And you could have felt like, okay, this is something where it's something wrong with my self-worth because this person went away and I'm having a hard time processing feelings, when in reality it's like part of it could have been that I feel like you detached yourself with a certain version of yourself, again, like I was saying. But I don't think that version of you is not, I don't think that version of you is insecure. I don't think that version of you is like, you needed to heal that out of you. I think that's part of the reason why maybe you pushed this away. It's because this person didn't show up with a version of themselves that would have understood or known how to operate with that specific version of you. And you maybe saw that. You maybe saw that this person did show up with that version of themselves in other areas or other situations or places. And you may have thought like, okay, well, it could be like, I need to mature, or this version of me is like, it's not normal, or this person kind of made you feel really judged. This is reminding me of an ex that I had. I feel like this brought out a certain version of you, but I feel like you shot this down. I feel like you've rejected this certain version of you so that you could have a potential reunion, or things could be stable and harmonious with this person. And I feel like that happened in your guys' relationship. I don't think that happened in this separation period. I feel like in this separation period, that's where this has been really hard to gain that stability and feel like you're at a place where you're okay reconciling this entire relationship. But that's why I think that when you find out whatever confession is here, this truth that comes out, you're maybe gonna feel like, no, I was detached from this person, but I'm also noticing that there's this version, this dark feminine energy that wants to come out. And it's not even like it's not something where you want to give the power to this person in terms of have it, how do I say this? Hold on. I think the version of you that's going to want to come out, you might be like, okay, I need to chill. Like this doesn't make sense for me to be feeling this energy because I don't feel this way for this person. I'm not affected by this information. I don't even want to be with this person necessarily. And it's not that this version of you is wanting to come out because like you have like something's wrong with you, or like it's that you associate this version of yourself coming out with this energy of I must be insecure, or this must be something I have to heal, or there's something here that's coming up as a lesson. It's showing up more so like you might want to kind of have, it's almost like them or this information you find out resurrects a certain version of you. It's supposed to be for you. She's for you. That energy, she's not someone who defines like, oh, she's only coming out because this is affecting my self-worth. No, your self-worth's fine, but somebody wants to come back out in you because she was subdued. She was held down. She was suppressed. She wasn't the issue. She's coming out. She's coming out because she's celebrating. Oh my God. I pulled cards before this reading, and that Camila Cabello song that I referenced right before I moved from my living room to my office, like the last video, I think, where my background is different. It's called Dade County Dreamin', and she says like celebrate the breakup. I feel like you're finally going to be celebrating this breakup in the way that you weren't able to when you guys initially separated. And so don't push her down, let her come out. And she's not bad. She just is somebody who, it's like she finally is free. That's what I was saying in part one. Like there's something here that just hasn't necessarily been reconciled. And I think it's the idea that like there's that part of you or that energy that's some real power. That's like, you need her. She's been awakened. She's Kali. I think that she, or this sister self energy I was talking about, you rejected that side of yourself because this person, you felt rejected by this person initially. But I think that you got yourself to a place where you're like, no, I'm solid, I'm good. And because of that, I was saying there's a certain version of yourself, and it's not your inner teenager like I was talking about in part one. I think it's a part of you that your inner teenager wasn't allowed to develop and grow because she also was rejected. But I don't think it's that this person rejected that version. I think you rejected a version of you that you feel insecure about because she's so powerful. And I think she wants to make an entrance, but I also think that you're going to notice that this is coming out at certain times where in order for her to be released or unleashed, there is something here about some little moments of uncertainty leading up to this in the next couple weeks or months where you're going to want to fight for control really quickly to get yourself stable again. And I think that whole theme of like, you are stable, you've made it, like you're good, you're at your goal. That's a threshold, or that's a new solid ground that you can't go back down from, right? You're here, you're good, so you're safe to stop bracing. I think that you're going to have some kind of purge here, release here, in order for you to let yourself be free and flowing when this dark feminine goddess energy wants to come back out. When you finally find out that this is gonna kind of close some type of cycle that you don't even understand how much of an effect this really did have on you. I feel like you're going to be accepting and forgiving and almost asking this version of you for forgiveness because you didn't understand. And that's okay. But you've gotten to this point where now you're allowed to. Now you're allowed to experience her. Now you're allowed to understand this version of you. And your life is going to change. Like you're about to reach some heights here that I don't think you even thought were possible. I have chills. I keep dropping cards. Okay, that's the Crow. That's the Psychic. If this is like your inner Kundalini goddess, your inner Kali, your inner dark feminine, whatever this is, if that's the case, it makes sense, because if you are psychic, if you do what I do, if you were awakened and you are on this path in this way, you kind of have to understand this version of you in order to like really fully integrate, so that you can actually understand what type of power you truly hold. Because I don't even think you know. The wolf and the fish. Your flow, your leadership. I think that you have tried to get to a place where you're comfortable and solid, but I think it's been affecting your ability to actually flow through certain energy. And I think you're recognizing that, or you're picking up on that, especially if you do what I do. If you're like, where the fuck is my flow? And this wolf card, this talks about when we're unbalanced, it can lead to us being intolerant of certain energy, or of ourself, or of other people, and feeling like this card specifically, I'm going to read it. When in balance, reliable, democratic, fearless. When out of balance, judgmental, dominating. To bring into balance, practice letting go, which was what I was saying, the initial message. The wolf, guardian of family and tribe, activism and ritual. The wolf's mission is to uphold the well-being and longevity of the pack. I feel like you have the world on your shoulders, basically, for yourself. Healthy wolf energy expresses itself through activism, mentorship, humanitarian efforts, or teaching, religious or political studies. The wolf gets into trouble when it assumes every member of the tribe must follow suit. This includes children walking in their parents' footsteps. Although it surely will be uncomfortable at first, practicing tolerance helps balance out agitated wolf energy. Contemplate the following: embrace all, exclude none. I feel like you do a really good job doing that with people outside of you, but I feel like it's for you. I feel like you feel like in order to be a leader, in order to move forward on your path, that you kind of have to stay in line and perfectly like assume the position. And I feel like there's a certain version of you that is not, you don't allow that version of you in. But that's the key to your upgrade here. That's the key to the levels that you're supposed to be meeting here. The fish card. I see this card as the current, right? I know like salmon, they flow upstream or whatever, but I kind of feel like when you're doing what I'm doing, you kind of have to have a flow. You have to be able to flow with the current, with the energy. You're trying to get back in flow. You're trying to find your flow. It's your goddess energy that you have to be in touch with in order to flow. And if a certain emotion of yours is, and you don't tolerate it, you have to be able to tolerate it in order to help the people around you understand that that's an energy that they also have. You're supposed to be teaching these people. You're supposed to be, they're wanting you to relate to this crew, right? Relate to this group of people who also need to understand this about themselves. But you also you have to accept embodying that energy. This is like full awareness, you've been fully awakened on this spiritual path. You're a dragon. I'm gonna find the fish here. Restlessness, change of focus, lost in the current. The fish loves to be subsumed in life's current. Nothing pleases it more than movement, and more movement. The roaming lifestyle of the fish may be exhilarating for a while, but usually leads to wariness and slippery relationships. With all the possibilities out there in the vast waters, the fish become lost without clear goals and intentions. Spend some time with the lunar forces, dear fish, as the peace and calm of the moon will soothe your soul. When in balance, adaptable, travels well. When out of balance, distracted, changes mind often. To bring into balance, set a small goal and accomplish it. I feel like you do, and I feel like you are really good at moving forward and accomplishing your goals. I feel like you have great self-esteem, because that's necessary in order to accomplish goals, because you hold yourself accountable. I just feel like you are over-parenting a certain version of yourself, or you feel like you have to protect yourself from it. But I feel like she's part of the flow. Also, this fish card, I was talking about like this nomad. It talks about like being a nomad or like a roaming lifestyle. And I also think that you, maybe unlike this past person, have a very like a lifestyle that caters to you, where you have your routine, you have your comfortable stuff, you've curated that for yourself. And that's a good thing. It probably took you a while to get to that point, because I want to say there's this pride, there's a proud energy here that I feel with this. But I feel like there's some stuff here where you kind of are going to be asked to go with the flow. Oh, the lion fell out as soon as I said your pride, your strength, your confidence. You developed this as you were developing this, because it's for you. You own it. You're in control of it. Your independence, right? You're lone wolf that walked on this path. But I also feel like with this fish, it's like you're still you. That's still part of you. But your life, some things are going to change. And I think you're being asked to not be so resistant to it, or to not be so intolerant to it. And I don't think that you think that you are. But I kind of feel like that requires you to look at your rules differently. Look at what you allow for yourself to be different. Look at your routine. Like, where can you make small changes that seem to kind of throw you off at first, in small doses, so that when things come your way, you don't feel like you're completely fucked. You know what I mean? I'll see if there's anything else. I kind of feel like this other person doesn't fucking matter. The whole thing is that you're hearing whatever this information is, it's gonna make you feel like you don't understand why you have a certain vibe or a certain energy. And I feel like what would make you spiral even more is feeling like you don't have control of yourself in this way. And it's sort of saying like, you're good. This is actually like imagining like you earned this energy of you back. It's a gift. Accept it. Accept her, right? This Nightingale card. This is about, hold on. Talks about the importance of music when it comes to healing. So you could sing, or you could want to make music, but it says this card indicates a need to open up the bridge between the heart and the voice. Is there something you need to say? How long has it been since you sang? Turn it up, write it down, let it out. A lump in the throat. It just talks about fearlessness. What have you subdued? Like, what have you pushed down for this